If you were a 2000s kid, you most definitely watched Monster House. This movie was beautiful and I loved it growing up. Believe it or not too, it's not one of those movies that was only good because you were a kid. This movie came out when I was 3 years old, and as my 20-year-old self, I still enjoy this movie. I think it's insanely impressive how entertaining a movie about an evil house can be, especially because the set of the entire movie is practically just a street in front of DJ's house, and it honestly never gets boring. And this is because of the pacing of the movie. The movie starts with a girl biking down the sidewalk, and it's very sweet and happy, but instantly shifts to dark and creepy when Nevercracker yells at the little girl and steals her bike. Then instantly again, the mood shifts to comedic when we go to DJ, whose parents are leaving and his mom's figuring out about like puberty. And let me just say, the comedy in this movie hits every single time. It never feels forced, like they aren't purposely trying to be funny. It just feels so natural and realistic. And I can't lie, the part where Chowder says, "Hey DJ, got any beer?" It still gets me to this day. I don't know. Maybe I'm just childish. But anyways, the pacing keeps kind of that same flow throughout the entire movie. The movie never gets dull. They even do this with the conflicts. When one conflict ends, another one is instantly introduced, and you are constantly on your toes. This movie is extremely stressful, but in a good way. For example, Nevercracker dies in DJ's arms, and then directly after that, the babysitter arrives, and she is super rude and stressful. And then right after that, DJ realizes the house is calling him and is probably haunted, and mid-realization, Bone starts teasing him. You get the point. There's always a new problem arising, and it's so entertaining to watch. It also doesn't feel rushed. The shifts always feel practical and on point. I love the characters too. It's literally like the most perfect iconic mix. You got a neutral character, DJ, who's like the most medium dude, but like the guy with the plan. Then you have the funny character, Chowder, who is just a typical comedic relief character. And then the smart character, Jenny, who is just perfect to keep these two idiots in check. Their chemistry is just so strong, and it allows them to bounce off each other very well, and it just works. Not to mention the amazingly written character, Mr. Nevercracker. He is such a well-written villain and makes you feel literally every emotion you could ever feel, but we'll focus on him in a second. I really want to focus on the conflicts for a second. I feel like in a lot of new movies, they don't write conflicts as well as they used to. I feel like the conflict is so rushed nowadays and lasts 5 seconds and then they win in like 5 seconds. Nothing feels genuinely earned and difficult, but this movie feels extremely difficult. Nothing comes easy, and the conflicts sometimes feel even impossible. Every time they get close, there is always something that ends up stopping them, and it just stresses you out so bad, but in the best way. Even down to the simplicity of saving Jenny. When Chowder and DJ go to warn Jenny, you become extremely stressed because you know this house is evil, and no matter what they say, this girl won't listen. You get to feel the exact stress DJ and Chowder feel in this moment, and they do this so well throughout the entire movie. You feel like you're part of the group because you don't know anything that they don't know, and you're learning and being stressed with them. You literally have to watch as this house almost swallows Jenny just for her to understand, oh yeah, this house is evil. Same with the police officers. They're about to successfully carry out their plan with the dummy vacuum until bam, the police come at the exact second. In this scene, they warn the police officers that the house is evil, and of course they don't listen. They trap the kids in the car and go to investigate the house. And my god, is this scene extremely stressful. You got this house chowing down on the police officers while the kids are stuck in a literal police car and can't do nothing to protect themselves. But I won't lie, during this scene it's also kind of satisfying to see the police officers get some karma for not listening. I mean, I'm not saying they deserve what they got, but like it was, you know, but this scene just does such a good job at immersing you in it, and you really feel what the kids feel in this moment. You feel excited, then you're annoyed, then kind of confused, then annoyed again, then paranoid, then terrified. It's just so much emotion in one little scene. And also as a viewer, the cops are a hilarious duo, and so we get to experience comedy throughout the scene as well. I also can't help but seriously appreciate how creative they got with this house. Look at this scene when the house goes back to normal after eating the cops. It's crazy. What? They really went all out. Like the house is really alive. Like, you know the house from Encanto? That's just like a regular possessed house, but they made this house really alive. The house is very expressive, and it's impressive that they were able to do that with a literal house. They used a rug for a tongue, the curtains for eyeballs, and even used the entirety of the house to change its expressions. This house had to be so well crafted and well thought out to be able to go from this to this. Also, the fact the house has organs was so brilliant and awesome to me. Like when they pulled its uvula and it threw up, it's just insane how they made a regular old house into a living being. That scene as well is just another example of the conflicts being insane. During that scene, it feels like they're not going to win. Chowder and DJ are about to fall into this wooden spike mouth thing, and Jenny looks like she's next, but she very quickly grabs a uvula and saves the day. But it's so close. I know it's a kid movie and there's always a happy ending, but it feels sometimes as if one of them are really gonna die. It gets that close. I mean, even when they got trapped while in the police car, there is barely anything they can do. They are helpless and it seems impossible to get out of this. Speaking of helpless, let's talk about Mr. Nevercracker. For the first half of the movie, we are so convinced he is the bad guy, the mean old dude who never lets anyone on his lawn. Then after he supposedly died, we are now convinced the house is being possessed by him and he's still the bad guy, until he realizes that he's still alive and everything comes together. The plot twist is just wild. This whole time, this man's wife was possessing the house and he was trying to scare kids away so they wouldn't get hurt. The way a little story makes you see the entire movie differently is just crazy. You can watch the first scene again and realize he was trying to put fear into this girl to save her from ever coming back to the house and getting seriously hurt, which is kind of nice. Also, you kind of feel bad for the guy. Imagine being trapped 24/7 in a house and having the constant stress that your wife/house could kill a kid at any time. I mean, that stress had to be insane. We even see him trying to blow up the house after getting back from the hospital, which means he realizes he's getting too old to keep scaring kids away. And the only way to save these kids is to kill his wife, which is a terrifying and difficult choice to make, especially because he says he's gonna be all alone. We end up seeing this sweet, loving side to him after all this hatred and terror. I just love movies where you can rewatch it back with a completely new point of view. Also, speaking of killing his wife, the ending scene where they're trying to blow up the house also feels impossible. Nothing about it is easy, and at some points you feel like they might actually lose. I mean, Chowder almost falls into a huge hole, the house becomes even more scarier and bigger, and Chowder during the entire scene is just getting bullied constantly. If this wasn't a kid's movie, he probably would have been dead. They even mix in a little end of the movie kiss, which I can't lie, I'm a sucker for, but honestly most movies sprinkle in a kiss at the end for no reason, but this kiss actually feels well placed. First off, throughout the entire movie we saw Chowder and DJ fighting to get this girl, so this brings some closure to the battle. Also, this kiss is the only reason DJ gets the courage to keep climbing and blow up the house. But anyways, they have to climb this huge tower thing and it just seems so impossible. But it's great because when they win it feels so deserved and fulfilling, because you had real stress believing they wouldn't make it, which I love. So many movies lack making it feel believable that they might not actually win, but Monster House did a brilliant job at this. I just love Monster House and I always will. This is my comfort movie and I will force my kids to watch this movie, but I don't know, I'm just watching TV. This is my first film essay ever, so let me know what I did, what I can do better next time. Thank you so much for watching this video. It means so much. Bye.